allowing the public to access and participate in the meeting via in-person attendance at the Wolfeboro Town Hall or via GoToMeeting through the login information. And that information is as follows: https //global .gotomeeting.com /join/918242429. If you have any problems, you can call 603-569-5970 or email the planning director at wolfeboronh.us. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is to go through and have a roll call vote. Any member not in attendance at the Great Hall, if you'll just indicate if you have any individual in the room with you other than yourself. Okay, so I'll start with Von Dugan.
Here, no persons present other than myself.
Okay, thank you. Susan Replier.
Here.
Okay, Mike Potter.
Present.
Okay, John Thurston.
Here.
Brad Harriman.
Here.
Okay, and Julie Jacobs, if you would sit as a sitting member for tonight, because Peter Goodwin is not here. So is that okay with you?
That's fine.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm here.
Thank you very much. And Kathy Barnard, I'm here. Oh, okay, the first item on the agenda is the election of officers. So the first item is the election of the chairman of the planning board.
Madam Chairman, I'd be happy to nominate you, Kathy Barnard, to continue your tenure as chair of the planning board.
Okay, thank you.
Seconded.
Okay, any other nominations? Oh, okay, then I'll close the nominations and go through a roll call vote. Von Dugan?
Yes.
Okay, Susan Replier?
Yes.
Mike Potter?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
Okay, Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
And Kathy Barnard, I'll abstain. Okay, the next item is the election of the vice chairman, and I would like to put into nomination Michael Hodder.
Seconded.
Okay, thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, then we'll go with the roll call vote again. Von Dugan.
We'd like to appoint as members of the Filter Bed Road Committee with rights of voting, Mr. Victor Druin and Mr. Kirk Beswick, and as an alternate member, Suzanne Ryan.
Okay, thank you. Any other members want to make any mention of another candidate? Oh, okay, then we'll go ahead and
Second that.
okay, and close the nomination and go with the vote here. Von Dugan.
Yes.
Okay, Susan Replier.
Yes.
Okay, Mike Potter.
Yes.
John Thurston.
Yes.
Brad Harriman.
Yes.
And Julie Jacobs.
Yes.
Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor of the committee. Okay, so you're all set with that one for the Thursday.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, the next item are the public hearings. This one is a public hearing for Scenic Road reconstruction, reclaiming the pavement, adding gravel, replacing and upgrading the drainage and removal of dead or dying trees, then repaving on Stoneham Road from Cotton Mountain Road to Brookfield.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I'd just like to recuse myself from this hearing because the company I work for has the contract for this job, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so we're going to go with 6 members then. Okay, Dave.
Yes.
Go ahead. I was looking for you, and there you are, right in front of me.
Thank you. Yeah, we are, this project is funded by the warrant article for road upgrades in 2021. Last year we did the engineering. We had the engineer, Stantec, helped us develop the set of plans. We have some drainage upgrades and some shoulder upgrades. But we have a lot of dead trees, and that's what we have here. We've got about 22 that are marked out on the plans. And these are all trees that are past their useful life. They become a danger, and our responsibility to keeping the public right-of-way safe. And with subgrades to take them down is the time to do it. There are some old stone walls, some in better shape and some not, just piles of rock. We should not be touching those, but there are times when we're doing some of the drainage work, a stone or two could get misplaced, but we'll make sure everything goes back. If it's anything close, we will have a resident engineer, Jonathan Burke, will be out there. He'll be taking pictures. And we have sent a letter to the property owners, and we've actually talked to and made contact with many of them. Taking care of their issues. So I think it's going to be a good project. And again, we hope we have the planning board support, and be more than happy to answer any questions if anyone has any questions about the project.
Okay, is anyone else going to present this?
Nope.
Okay. All right, then we'll open it up to members of the public to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah.
Suzanne Ryan, Stoneham Road. I have a few questions for David, if I may. I'm wondering if, in the interest of saving some trees, we couldn't talk about some that I feel maybe shouldn't come down or don't have to come down. It's obvious that there's a majority of them that do. They're standing dead. But I've taken a picture of some that I hope could be saved. And who determined that these particular trees were going to be marked and taken down? Did we have an arborist?
No. I worked with Stantec and myself. And went, and I thought it was quite obvious. So the judgment was done by ourselves. We tried to keep the engineering budget to a minimum on this project and try to set a standard where we don't, it's not done to the level as we do a DOT project like down on Center Street, where we bring in a lot of experts and spend a lot of money. Here we try to really do as much as possible in-house, so I made those determinations. With regards to trees, we'd be more than happy to look at trees if we could do the trimming, as long as there's no danger of limbs coming down on the public way. We would definitely look at saving any tree we could, Suzanne, more than happy to. But, you know, if we save it and then next year it falls down, and now are we really saving anything? I would say, you know, are we risking, you know, public safety to save another year or two on a tree, so that's a tough call. But I'd be more than happy to look at them with you.
Well, I used your plans that were online, that was good to have. And I tried the best I could to determine, there's on plan number 9, at the end of the green property by the guardrail, it looks like you've marked 2 trees to come down. And I took pictures of those. And if they're the ones that I took pictures of, they're pretty healthy, and they're big old trees. And driving out towards 16, it's just at the end of the guardrail. The reason we put the guardrail there is because it's just a sheer cliff drop off. I'd rather see someone hit that tree than go down in the drop off. So I'd like to see those trees saved. As I say, if they're the ones, best of my ability. And then there was, on the view side on plan 11, there was one on the curve that looked like a possibility to be saved. On plan number 14 by the church, most definitely, there's a whole row of them that you get no argument from me, they have to come down. There's one on plan 15 that I hope could be saved. Plan 14, there's a clump of 4, and then a clump of 2. They look like they could be saved. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that out of the 22 trees, there's probably a half a dozen I've just named that I would be hopeful that could be given a stay of execution and maybe take a second look at that. The other item I have is in front of the church. Mike, could you? Sorry, might as well just give me these pictures all together. In front of the church, it doesn't depict it on your plans. The Cotton Mountain Community Church, I think that might be plan 14 or 15. There are 2 granite steps in front of each pathway to the door, to the 2 doors of the church, and those have been there since Christ, since the church was built, I would imagine. And I would like to make sure that you make some notation that those don't get moved. They're actually almost like a boundary to the edge of the street. And I don't think you have any problem agreeing with me on that. I would assume, is that okay, David?
Oh, absolutely, sure. We'll do anything we need for the church, and we'll definitely flag those up. We'll stay out of that area. Shouldn't be any problems there. And on those trees, I can ask Kirk Titus to come up with me and take a closer look at those 6. I did take a close look at them, so again, I would look at them again, but again, we don't want to take these down. It's not my goal because it costs a lot of money. They're expensive, and I just assume not take them down. But again, it is a safety issue, so I'll look at those in particular, but I can't guarantee. Again, they were marked for a reason. And there may be ones, again, they should have had flagging on. Did you see any flagging on the ones that you looked out there?
I'm sorry?
Did the trees you saw, did they have flagging on it? Orange, like a surveyor tape flagging on them?
Did they have a flag on them, Suzanne?
Oh, yeah, some do. Some have worn off or fallen down. But the ones that I mentioned have flags. And this is a time of year where they start to form buds. So it says to me, They have a little
They
light.
definitely have buds, so they would have buds for 10 more years, but they're gonna fall and potentially, be a safety issue. So we really gotta balance the safety, and there's trees, you've been up there. We have lots of trees. It's not like there's no other trees there to replace them. And these are old ones, they're damaged, some of them have been hit by the plows, they've been beat up for many years, and unfortunately, I think it's time for them to go.
If any of them could live to 10 years, that's about as long as I'll live if I'm lucky. I'd like to see them stay. At any rate, the other item I have is the road signs. Currently, there are approximately 3 road signs. You're adding 8, we'll have 11 road signs. And I don't know what could be done about that, but the one that I could address easily is the 4 stop signs at the intersection of Stoneham and Cotton Mountain Road. I've talked to some of my neighbors on Stoneham Road. We travel that intersection frequently, and we would be willing to have a stop sign coming out of Stoneham Road headed towards 16. Leave the one no stop sign coming up Cotton Valley, up the hill and around the curve. In the winter, someone's going to spin their tires if they have to come to a stop and then continue. There should be a stop sign at North Wakefield Road, but I don't see a stop sign at the corner of going down onto Cotton Mountain Road. I can see 2, and I will tell you, as an aside, it's meant to be just a little humor and not to be picking on anyone, but well, I guess I won't say who. I asked 2 police people sometime back, who's supposed to stop there if there were stop signs? Cotton Mountain Road or Stone Road or North Wakefield Road? And the 2 officers each gave me a different answer. So I guess it will have to boil down to practicality, good common sense, and ease of travel. So I guess that's pretty much it for me. And I'd ask that the planning board consider what I've said, and according to the statute, it says on Scenic Roads, well, we're not going to have any real stone wall issues, so I concede that. I thought the width of the road was going to be wider, but I can see that it's not. I went out and measured it today. The pavement is 19 feet, and then 2 feet on either side for gravel and the side of the road. So it's been that width since the 70s, I think. So I'm not complaining about the width of the road. And it definitely needs to be done, there's no issue, but I would hope that the planning board would consider some of the things I've said, and the consent of the planning board be given with conditions. So I'm not sure just how to help you out with those conditions, but maybe a second look at some of this.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Yeah.
point of order? Can I ask the planner question? Mrs. Ryan referred to 14 different plan sets. In my packet, I received 3, and there were only 3 trees in question on those 3 plan sets that I received. When I drove Stoneham Road, I saw the 3 trees on my plan sets, but I also noticed a whole series of other trees which had been flagged with red, indicating to me at any rate that they were intended to come down. I picked up my packet from the town hall in the box, Are we talking about 3 plan sets, or 14, 3 trees, or more than 3 trees?
The only answer I can give is that the plan set that was in your packet was received from the Public Works Department. So I would defer to Dave on the number of plans. I don't know what Suzanne was referring to as far as Plan 9 or 14, et cetera.
Then if I may I ask Mr. Ford the question? Dave, in my packet, I received Stantec plans, numbers C1, 101, 102, 103, and 104. Is that the complete set of plan sets showing the trees that you intend to take down in this application? Or am I missing something?
Yeah, the road set should be, well, again, I'm not sure what you're looking at, unfortunately. The complete set is 14 drawings, and the drawings have different numbers, but it should go up to C 109. The last drawing in the set, and there should be 22 trees that were shown on the drawings as being.
Okay, then I have, on my set, I have, beg your pardon, general plan, 1 of 9, 2 of 9, 3 of 9, 4 of 9. So I presume I'm missing the other 5 of 9.
Right.
That's in my packet. Absent that plan set, those additional plan sets, I can't make a decision tonight because I simply don't have the information in front of me to make a considered decision.
Mike, you might be looking at a different set of drawings that were prepared specific. I'm looking at the construction drawings, which is a little more detailed. Tavis, can you look at the drawings and see if that's a complete set showing the complete set from the
This is
to the Cotton Valley Church?
the plan set that we were given for the packet says bid documents do not revise November 2020.
But does it have 14 drawings? Does it have 3 drawings?
No, I have 4 drawings. I do not have Cotton Valley Church on my drawing set.
Right. That's correct. Are you checking on something?
I only have one email with the plan set that we're talking about, and that's what the board members have.
All right. So in the absence of a full set of plans, Madam Chairwoman, I don't see how this board can come to any kind of a decision, pro or con, tonight
Yeah, right.
until we have proper documentation.
Right, yes, I had problems with this also. But as long as these folks are here, is there anybody else that wants to comment on the plans that have been presented? No? Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
I am somewhat disappointed. This is a set of plans that went out to bid. I went about a month ago to the planning department to try to get this organized so we'd have this. It does seem like I sent a letter to everyone. It was a letter that went out to everyone. The plans were made available to everyone. The administrative error that was done between Public Works and the planning department, I apologize for. The intent of this meeting is to have a public so that we can see. Mike, did you drive the road and see what was going on? Do you understand what this project is? We're taking down dead trees so we can improve a road. If you delay this process, it's going to be maybe I don't know if we can continue the public hearing, but I have a contract who's ready to start cutting trees next week.
Dave, I'm sorry, Dave. I don't see any way I can make a proper decision on this application and adhere to my understanding of my role as a planning board member without the proper documentation in front of me. I mean, what would you expect me to do if I...
Yeah, okay, all right.
Sorry, thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay. Any other, since there are no members of the public that want to speak anymore, any members of the planning board want to weigh in on this?
I would like to have the opportunity to see the trees. I got the notice of meeting on the 2nd, Friday, and picked up the packet today and didn't see all the trees. So I would like to drive by and see the flag trees.
Okay. All right. Why don't we, go ahead, Julie.
I'm going to throw a little spanner in the works here, because I'm reading the rest of some of this paperwork. Are we supposed to be approving anything, or is this just the venue for this all to happen in?
We have the right to approve. The statute says the planning board consents. The Supreme Court interprets, in my opinion, the word consent to mean permission. There's a difference of opinion between me and the planner on the meaning of the word consent. I think the Supreme Court's in my corner as opposed to his, but nonetheless, we have the right to consent.
Right.
Personally, I could not consent. I haven't seen the documentation.
Okay, well, you're not the only one, Mike, because the rest of us haven't seen it either. So how about if we hold this open until, let's see, 2 weeks from now, and we could then continue this public hearing so that we can all see the full set of plans and go over and take a look at the Stoneham Road and make a decision at that time. Is that okay with everyone?
I'll be happy to, you want a motion to that effect?
Okay.
I'll be happy to move that this public hearing be held open until the 20th, where we would be continued subsequent to receiving full documentation
Okay.
on the application.
All right, very good. Okay.
Second that.
And you seconded it? Okay. All right, roll call vote. Von Dugan?
Yes to that motion.
Oh, okay, thank you. Susan Replier?
Yes.
Thank you. Mike Potter?
Yes.
Okay, John Thurston?
Yes.
Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
Okay, and Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor of the motion. So for those of you who are here to hear the rest of this presentation, we will be continuing this at the next meeting, which will be the 24th.
20th.
Okay, all right. And here in the Great Hall. Okay? All right. Okay, on to the next item. Just a second. Okay, the next 5 items are public hearings. And in this particular case, the planning board will hear from the applicant about the application. He'll answer any questions that we may have. And then the planner can also offer any other suggestions that he may have. Once that process is accepted, we'll make a motion to grant the hearing, and we can then go on to the public hearing so that the public will have an opportunity to be heard. So the first item is Patrick and Maureen Murray, 11 Goodridge Road, tax map and lot 231-41, case 2021-04, subdivision for a 2-lot subdivision.
Good evening. Randy Tatro, Norwood Plains, for the applicant Maureen Murphy, surveyor of record on this.
Okay.
Property is located on 11 Goodrich Road, tax map 231, lot 44. Would be on the northwesterly side of Goodrich Road, in between East Clark Road and the Town Gardens.
Okay,
It's in the village district, which has requirements of 75-foot frontage, half-acre lots, if tied into municipal water and sewer, which this is, or has the availability of. What they're proposing is a basic two-lot subdivision. You can see the existing lot of record, it's just over 3.5 acres. And what they want to do is subdivide a minimum size lot to the left of their existing house. It's, again, 75-foot frontage and the minimum lot size. Proposed to be, again, tied into municipal water and sewer. That's mostly it. I think the only other item is normally we have to show soils information on this, but because of municipal water and sewer, we've asked for a waiver to that checklist item. There is a section in the ordinance that allows you not to do calculations for lot size, obviously, because it's not a septic site. But in this particular case, it's still on there that you're supposed to show the soils info, so we asked for a waiver for that. The wetlands have been delineated, the jurisdictional wetlands that show on the general topography from front to back, and there's a couple minor wetland areas that show on there along with the wetland buffers. Before I get asked, just under the area sizes, I do have the form factor calculation, which we are under on both, a little bit close on the remaining land, so I think it's around a 31, and a minimum is 35. So in this particular case, that allows the owner to keep the back land and decide what they want to do with it, whether an abutter might want some or they just keep it. So that's generally it, and I'll answer any questions the board would have.
okay, so you've already, justified the granting of the waiver then?
Yes, that was basically my thing, unless you want more.
No, that's, anybody have any questions about the granting of the waiver?
Be happy to make a motion to approve waivers for 174-7, capital D, parentheses, numbers 5 and 6.
Very good.
Seconded.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Von Dugan?
Yes.
Susan Replier?
Yes.
Mike Potter?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
And Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
And Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor. Okay, anything else that you wanted to make us aware of?
No, the only thing that, again, could be a present condition is the monumentation of the lot corners, the new lot corners. Other than that, I think that's the only thing that would need to be amended for a final submission.
Okay, all right, thank you. Tavis, do you have anything from the town?
Not necessarily. That was about the same thing that's written in the staff review. My recommendation would be to approve the waiver as requested and accept the application as complete, and I do have some suggested conditions of approval, but there's nothing earth-shattering with the proposed conditions. It's more procedural.
Okay,
Madam Chairman, I move the application be accepted as complete.
okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Von Dugan?
Yes.
Susan Replier?
Yes.
Mike Potter?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
And Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
And I vote in favor of accepting it. Okay, now that this one has been accepted as complete, we can now open the public hearing. Any member of the public that wants to speak to this application, now is your opportunity to do that. Okay, all Tavish, you indicated that you have some suggested conditions for us.
Yep, suggested conditions of approval, number 1, following plans. It's basically the plan set that's in the packet referred to by title. Number 2, the applicant needs to submit a Mylar for Carroll County Registry of Deeds. Applicant is responsible for payment of all recording fees. The application packet is submitted or otherwise modified by the board as the binding approval document. And 5, the applicant should be responsible for monumentation and the certificate of monumentation, which is what Randy was just talking about with the boundary corner. So
Okay,
that's it.
all right. Any questions? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Any other information or questions?
Madam Chairman,
Comments?
I move to approve the application with conditions as stated by the planner.
Okay, great.
Seconded.
Okay, thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Von Dugan,
Yes.
Susan Replier,
Yes.
Mike Cotter,
Yes.
John Thurston,
Yes.
Brad Harriman,
Yes.
and Julie Jacobs,
Yes.
and Kathy Barnard. I vote in favor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's see, the next application is LP Gas and Equipment, Inc. This is Wolfeboro Oil Drive, tax map and lot 161-14-103, case number 2021-05. This is a site plan review for a fuel distribution center.
Good evening again, Randy Tatro, Norwood Plains for the applicant. There'll be a few other gentlemen here tonight besides me. I'm basically introducing the site plan project. I'm the surveyor of record on it. Any questions regarding the land ownership, boundaries, site features, and so forth would be directed to me. This property is located tax map 161, 14-3, Wolfeboro Oil Drive, in the Wolfeboro Business Park, behind the GI Plastics site and the current facility that was formerly Wolfeboro Oil. It's now LP Gas and Eastern Propane. Also here tonight is Scott Lawler. He's the professional engineer that was responsible for any of the civil engineering aspects, i.e., the site plan conditions and so forth. And he would be the one that would answer any of the questions on site grading, drainage, that type of thing. Also with us tonight is Bill Massey. He's the regional manager for Eastern Propane. He would be able to answer any business aspects as far as how the facility would run, what their plans are for certain things, that sort of thing. Also remotely is Robert Coluccio. He's also a professional engineer with Webb Engineering Associates, and he is the one responsible for the design of the tanks and the facility product. He handles the approvals through NHDES, any state and federal approvals. So he would be the one that anybody would submit questions to regarding those type of things. This proposed project is a diesel fueling station. So there will be two tanks, off-road and road diesel. Similarly, type of deal that they have right now that's located off Elena Street that most of the people are familiar with, that know town pretty well. So this would be a modern version of that. This new facility would be located on a vacant lot that LP Gas and Equipment owns, just to the left or adjacent to the current facility, the current propane facility. Scott will provide a narrative as far as the site plan issues, and he'll be able to explain the functions and the details as shown on the submitted plans. Thank you.
Okay, can I just ask a question? Because at the Technical Review Committee, when you gave your review of this, you felt that this was just for LP gas, and seemed surprised that it was for others. And
Right.
I'm wondering if you could spin that out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the original discussions, and again, being the surveyor, I wasn't really through the engineering aspect of this, but the general discussion was that it was going to replace the existing facility, which does now serve the public. And I was under the impression that I wasn't really supposed to put that forward 100%, because they didn't want to be mandated to do that, even though I found out later that that is their opinion and that is why they're doing it. So I apologize for that difference.
Okay, well.
But we did bring that up at the TRC, and the department heads have weighed in on it.
Okay, well, the reason I brought it up is because it says storage facilities, and including warehouses and wheels, distribution facilities that's for wholesale. And that does not seem like it's open to the public.
Well, again, we submitted the application for what we want to do, and that'll be up to the board to determine those things, Kathy. I mean, it is for both the use of them and the people they're now serving, which are contractors, and along with themselves. I don't believe that all the fleet is diesel anymore. Some of it's propane. But the proposal put before the board is for not only their own fleet, but any contractors that they now service in the same way that they do on land.
And you're saying that at their existing facility, they're now servicing other services?
Right. And I'll let the Eastern manager, address that, Kathy, but that is my understanding.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
You want Scott next as far as the civil, or would you like to have a different conversation?
No, go ahead.
Thank you, Randy, members of the board, Madam Chair, Scott Lawler, civil engineer from Norway Plains. Randy sort of given you the very generic description of the project. This is tax map 161, lot 14-3, Wolfeboro Drive. It's a piece of property that was purchased by LP Gas in November of 2019. It's 5.22 acres in size, and it lies in the Pine Hill Road Development District. It is located within the town Wolfeboro Business Park on Wolfeboro Drive. It's a vacant wooded lot. Wetlands near the development were delineated by Daniel Coons, a certified wetland scientist, where other wetlands on the parcel were per record plans within the town planning department. The general composite topography of the property slopes generally from west to east. There is an existing town of Wolfeboro water easement that's located along the easterly property line, which is where the water line is and serviced with a gravel road. The town has public water in the road, and Wolfeboro Electric has electrical underground service on Wolfeboro Drive. So as Randy explained, we're proposing a fuel dispensing facility. There'll be two 10,000-gallon above-ground fuel tanks for diesel. One 10,000-gallon tank will be used for off-road diesel, and the other 10,000-gallon tank will be for on-the-road diesel. Over the two fueling dispensers, there will be a 30 by 32 foot canopy, and underneath the dispensers will be 36 by 40 concrete pad with positive limiting barriers to capture up to 5 gallons of accidental fuels, diesel spillage. To provide access to the facility, we're proposing paved entrance and paved exit, as well as pavement on the site. This has been designed to accommodate a tractor-trailer delivery to offload for the tanks, and then for smaller dump trucks and smaller bobtail sized vehicles to go through the dispensing to gain diesel fuel. The fuel tanks, as Mr. Cluccio would say, are double-walled tanks, and they sit on a concrete pad. They're equipped with emergency shut-off system, and they will be designed such that only a maximum of 100 gallons would be dispensed at any given time, fueling the vehicles. This, as Randy and Madam Chair asked, this will be open for the Eastern propane truck fleet, existing clients of Eastern propane and oil, and also for public use using a credit card. It will be open 24 hours a day to service those who need to use the fuel service. There will be surveillance cameras that will record all people using the facility and monitor. The canopies will have some lights, undermounted lights that are shining down, and then we've also depicted on the plan 4 pole-mounted light poles with that are down-shielded for the paved areas. We've designed the site such that the storm water will be collected from all the new impervious surfaces and directed towards a closed drainage system. This drainage system will then discharge into a sediment forebay to allow the sediments to settle out before discharging into a designed wet pond, which will treat the runoff before being discharged through an outlet structure and back into the natural land. And this drainage system has been designed to not only meet the town of Wolfeboro standards, but in accordance with the NHDS stormwater rules and regulations set forth. We have designed the catch basins to have oil and debris traps in them to further capture any particulates that might get into the drainage system before discharging off into the treatment center. We are proposing a small 10 by 12 building that will be on the site, which will be used for electrical service panels and for storage of the spill kits and those type of things. We are going to have a backup generator that will be on site to provide power to this in the case of an outage. This is was particularly noted by the department staff as being a good thing, as some of the town and other private entities who are out dealing with snow plowing and stuff like that when there's no power, to have a backup generator so they could get diesel and continue to be out there maintaining the roads. The only service that we're requesting is underground electric and communications. This site will not be manned, so there's no need for public water or a septic system. Essentially, it's just going to be people driving up, getting their fuel, and then leaving. The fuel tanks and dispensing has been designed by WEB Engineering, as Randy indicated, and all of the approvals for the above-ground storage tanks and dispensings will be reviewed under NHDS regulations and approvals. And as part of that, they will provide a comprehensive spill prevention, control, and countermeasure, SPCC, and which will be reviewed and approved by NHDS. And there will be spill kits and emergency contact numbers on site in the event that there's an accidental spillage. With that, Madam Chair and members of the Planning Board, that's a very, very general overview. I can walk to the plan and answer more questions should the board have it. And if, again, as Randy indicated, if there's questions this board has in regards to the operations of the facility, representative for Eastern LP Gas is here, as well as Mr. Coluccio in the event that you have questions about the fueling system and the tank designs. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, board, questions?
I got to get back to this public filling area. So, as far as I know, Wolfeboro Oil used to have the tanks down there, and then when COVID happened, a very nice secretary said to me, "I'm sorry, John, you can't get your diesel fuel here anymore. I don't know what to tell you." So I had to go elsewhere, but there was clients that had the push-button code, and they could use this. So I'm just trying to understand what's going on here, so we can clarify, is this a public place, or is it public for only the ones that they want to come? Sure.
To answer your question, we did shut down additional access to those pumps while we figured out what we were going to do with it, and it is now back open. We'd be more than happy to sign me out. It is open to the public, but what we're trying to avoid is somebody coming in with a 5-gallon can, filling up their can. We want the contractors to come in, regular customers. So we stopped cash sales. And you might have come in with a cash sale, I don't know, you didn't have a key fob, I assume.
I usually just paid by cash. I would fill up a 5-gallon thing and put it in my vessel, and when I use it, I would go back and get some more.
Right, and we've kind of wavered on that a little bit. We still are cautious of somebody filling a 5-gallon can, but what we were seeing was there were a lot of homeowners coming down and just filling up a yellow or a red or a green can and just filling it up. We didn't feel it was the safest thing, so we shut that down. If they knew you, they should have honestly said, "Yeah, John, no problem, we'll set you right up," because they know you. But like I said, we were looking at it from a safety aspect. We just didn't want everybody in there filling their 5-gallon cans and going and dumping it at their house. We really don't want to spill, obviously, at their house or anywhere. So we're trying to be safe, to be honest with you. But the community really, I know you folks must know that Mr. Clement lives on Sewell, and the community really depends on us. Word got out when we purchased oil that we were going to shut that down. The amount of phone calls we got over that was incredible. It's really a big part of the community. Sunday paving, I mean, when I'm up there in the morning, I just see trucks coming through and filling up. And the next spot is either the 7-Eleven, which we know, and in the circle. So Mr. Clement wants to keep this as part of the community. It's a big investment, as it really is, but it is about the community, honestly. You know, our trucks are, a lot of our trucks are propane-powered, so we can fill them right from the Volatile itself. We do have some diesels, but I think we could attempt to put a skid tank in it there. If that was the case, we were just looking out for ourselves, but we're not. We're truly looking out for the town. I mean, somebody in the technical review committee asked, you know, will the school buses be able to fill that? Of course they will. We're more than happy to have that. That's why we're putting in a generator. A lot of folks use this to plow, you know, whether it's, you know, big trucks that are hired by the town or landscapers, what have you. They depend on it. So that's why we're putting this investment up there. It's a twofold. We want to lessen the traffic on Leonard Street, coming off of Center Street in the mornings and during the day when it's busy. And also we have that building there. And once if we're able to do this change, that will enable us to get rid of that building and hopefully get a nice business in there, you know. I'm sure Mr. Clement is, you know, he's not looking to sell it. A few real estate agents have reached out to me, called me the other day and asked me when we'd be out of there, and I said, I honestly don't know. A lot depends on tonight, quite honestly. I don't have that answer yet.
So if somebody fills up with a 5-gallon gas can and they do inadvertently spill, what happens?
There is right now, as Scott referred to, there's an SPCC plan, and we have to adhere to that plan. And outside of the building, there is a spill kit with kitty litter, as we all know it. There's pads to put down. There's a lot of stuff to put down. But there isn't, we're not there 24 hours a day. We've limited those pumps right now to 40 gallons. I did that because I thought that was a safe number. I don't want 100 gallons of fuel running down the road. So, we limited it to 40. So, again, we're trying to be safe, and moving this allows us to put in additional measures that are above and beyond what we have now.
So it's so out there is a public offering for somebody who has a credit card that can swipe and he could fill and be out of there. Is that what you're telling me?
We will have, yes. Yeah, we'll have the key fob, if you're familiar with that. We'll have that type of system, and probably keep the key fob system just because we have, a few out there. But there will also be a credit card option. And we'll have, like Scott said, security cameras recording all the time, and that will be backed up, and we can keep that data for 3 or 4 months, whatever we feel we want to keep it for. But if there was an incident that wasn't reported, then we'd have that information right away anyway. It'll all be backed up.
Great, thank you.
Okay, but it almost seems like you need a special exception use or a variance in order to have this.
I would like Scott? Yeah, plan, yeah.
Before you speak, Travis.
Well, no, wait a minute. Would you please answer that question?
I did.
No, we want you to answer that question.
We feel that it is covered under the use as it was written.
Okay. All right.
We've had our lawyers check
You don't think
into
that
it.
you need a special exception use?
No.
Which would allow you to then have any environmental protection hazard for this type of use is what I'm trying to say.
Right. This property is 200 feet from our propane diesel storage facility as it is.
Yeah.
It's on the same area, under the same, when we had the attorneys look it up, it was under the same clause, an exception in there. So we felt we already have this exception.
Okay, but this is a separate lot.
Yep, but it's in the same area, the same, I'm naive when it comes to the terminology, but when Wolfeboro Oil put their plant in, that area was defined as
Business park.
industrial or something. Again, I apologize, I'm naive when it comes to this, so we checked into it before we did any of this to make sure that we were covered there, because that's the first step you want to take.
Okay.
Before we invest all this money, we want to make sure that was good. We had a lawyer look at it, and they said, yeah, you were good to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Travis? Did the planner have something that he wanted to interject here?
At first, the applicant deferred to me, and then the chair asked for them to answer the question, so.
All right, then, if I may, Madam Chairwoman. My question basically is this: why did you not think to go and obtain a variance from the zoning board to allow this use in this district before you presented the application to the planning board for site plan review?
We went based off of what we were told by our lawyers, that this was already an approved use for that property.
Well, you had an approved use for tax map 161-14-1, which is your facility for storage of propane. That was granted in 2009 under a special use permit application. It's a unanimous vote. At the time, that lot was located in the C2 Pine Hill Road Commercial District. And at the time, under 175-111, paragraph N, the storage of volatile fuels, garage and filling or service stations was permitted with a special use permit. And under that regulation, LP gas equipment applied for and received a special use permit to build your site for the propane storage. 3 years later, the town rezoned that area. That area, the lot that you're applying for a permit for now, was rezoned as the Pine Hill Road Development District. The clause in the previous district allowing the storage of volatile fuels was not included in the permitted uses in the new Pine Hill Road Development District. It was continued in the C2 district specifically, but it was not included, it was not rolled over into the new Pine Hill Road Development District. There is no permitted use in the district in which your lot is now that allows for the, quote, storage of volatile fuels. Storage of volatile fuels in Wolfeboro is prohibited anywhere other than in the C2 district under a special use permit. It is not permitted here. What is permitted here is storage facilities, including self-storage, storage of equipment, and warehouse/wholesale distribution facilities. And that is the clause under which you are making your application. The exact same language also appears in the C2 district as a distinct use from the storage of volatile fuels. When the Pine Hill Road Development District was constructed, the storage of volatile fuels use was extracted and confined to C2 only. It was not included in Pine Hill Road Development District. So in my opinion, in order for your organization to apply for a permit to run a diesel fuel storage as well as a retail operation on your lot, you have first to go to the zoning board to get a variance to allow that use in a district where it is not allowed. And then, with that variance, come back to the planning board for a permit for site plan review. But absent that variance, I do not think you have a permitted use here. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
And you don't feel as if it fits in under the special exception use?
For a contractor's yard heavy?
Yeah.
No, because a contractor's yard heavy is not what they're anticipating.
Oh, okay.
Storage of diesel equipment, construction equipment, they're anticipating a storage of volatile fuels use with some fill-up of their own equipment and some public usage also through a keypad, whereas a contractor's yard heavy is something Brad is more familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, okay.
It's an entirely different use, and if we look into the C2 district uses, you'll find listed there contractors' yards, as well as warehousing facilities, and the storage of volatile fuels. You will find the same things listed in the Pine Hill Road Development District: light under a permitted use, heavy under a special exception use, and no allowance for volatile fuels.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, Julie, you had a question?
Well, Mike did use the word retail sales. That was what I was putting my finger up about, because that's what they're saying now, retail sales as well.
I'm sorry, Julie, I cannot hear you.
retail sales, you said it. That's what I was trying to get across, that they're trying to do retail sales as well as wholesale sales.
Well, but from what I understand, and I can't speak for the applicant, but my understanding of what he said was there'll be a keypad. Contractors can come in and fill up their tanks using a
And people
key.
from the public with a credit card, that's a retail sale.
That would be a retail sale, I would assume, yeah. So they're looking for retail as well as
Wholesale.
wholesale distribution. But again, wholesale distribution, in my opinion, in the language of the zoning ordinance, does not contemplate 20,000 gallons of diesel fuel sold to whoever wants to come in, including their own usage. Retail, wholesale, and warehouse distribution, anywhere you look in the zoning, and I looked around, I found descriptions in Manchester, in Laconia, and in our planner's dictionary, anticipates warehouse sales as being dry goods, furniture, chairs, stuff like that. It does not anticipate warehouse wholesale sales as including diesel.
Okay, any other questions?
Well, diagnosing this conversation here, I guess you got to understand where it is right now. It's down there, and it's probably about 35 feet from a manhole that dumps right into Back Bay. So I think we should try to ask ourselves, what's the resolution here on how we can get this done and create a safer place and allow this to occur for our contractors that we all need. Seriously.
All right, I'll make a suggestion, John. When LP Gas Equipment applied for a special use permit for their propane storage facility, which is now on that site, they had to apply through special use permit, and they had to jump through all of the hoops to provide environmental protection to allow that use to go into that property. Currently, as this application is presented to us now, the only environmental hoops the applicant is required to go through, and he really didn't even have to be required to go through these, was a wetlands delineation by Dan Coons. We did not have any of the other requirements that a special use permit requires, because in this case, a special use permit is not required for warehouse wholesale distribution facilities. When they applied originally, they had to go through that process. And if you read the minutes, and I did, it's fairly lengthy, and there was lots of questions. And that process is not applicable here, because what they're applying for is as a warehouse, not as a storage facility of volatile gases and volatile fuels, I beg your pardon. And if you look into our definitions, 175, 175, under the terms of toxic and hazardous waste, you'll see that they're just described among those things, volatile fuels like diesel and gasoline, and with references to NHDES requirements that have to be satisfied in order for the use to be allowed. Now, I know they're going to have to go through NHDES, they're going to go through the EPA, they have all those hoops to jump through, but they don't have to jump through any of our environmental hoops because they're not applying for special use permit. They're simply applying for a site plan review. Thank you,
Okay.
Madam Chairwoman.
All right, yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, just a couple of questions here while that one on, Tim? There we go. Thank you. I'm still kind of up in the air about the special use permit. I'm gonna, do some more thinking on that part of it, but more on a technical part, I guess, for where the two 10,000-gallon tanks are gonna be sitting. Is there a containment? I mean, I tried to look through the plans here, couldn't really tell if there's like a concrete moat around there or something, containment area that's gonna, if something happens to those tanks, it's all gonna be contained within that area there and not be able to get out into the, the property and stuff there, eventually into the wetland and stuff.
Scott from the White Plains, the tanks are double walled,
Okay, so so it doesn't need to be like concrete moat around there or anything.
The double wall provides that secondary containment.
And how about in the area where the filling would be done to the commercial vehicles and stuff? Is it going to be concrete pad going to be similar to what you see at the gas stations where they have all the grooves in there that will hold a certain amount of gallons of fuel there, so it won't, like a 5, 10, or 20 gallon spill will be all contained within that concrete pad and not get out into the...
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Positive limited positive containment that's built into this design.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm sort of with John here. I think we've got to figure out how we can proceed so that the proper steps can be taken in order to have this facility become a reality. And it seems to me that the only way to proceed is to go for a variance. And I don't know if anybody else agrees with me or not, but it seems like that's about the only way that I can think of.
I am very in favor of this use in this location with safeguards, but it seems clear to me that a variance is needed because this use is not listed in the zone.
Right.
Did Mike say this use is not listed in any zones?
What?
Is this?
It is.
This, what zone is it, Vaughn?
C2. It's listed in C2, and you could get it in this zone with the variance.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a point of order, Scott Lawler from Lori Plains. The C2 zone that this is allowed, there is one parcel in the entire town of Wolfeboro that is zone Z2, and that is the Richard Bean Park. That is the only parcel in the town that is zoned C2.
That's understood, and I don't mean to be argumentative, but it's the only zone in which this use is permitted.
Right. Yes. Okay. I don't, yeah, go ahead.
Guys, sorry, I was the original guy that talked to you, so I just wanted to stand up here. So originally, when we first heard about this, talked to the former town planner a little bit and said, this is what they're proposing to do. Wholesale, retail, really didn't get into that part, but generally it was a diesel, fuel disposing place. So then that was right around when things changed hands, mentioned to Tavis, same thing. So then we went to a preliminary meeting with the TRC. I didn't hear anything that we couldn't do it.
Well, yes, you did. You heard from me.
They needed a variance?
I was questioning what
You questioned what the public aspect would be.
Yes.
And that's a valid point. But whether or not it's fuel, whether or not diesel is volatile or, considered in that realm, that didn't come up as far as a variance. Now, that's not to say anybody's right or wrong. I'm just saying we went this far with it. I have a planner review that says that it's permitted. I'm not the zoning officer. And so I don't want to feel like I'm begging off on anything, but it kind of needs to be a little bit of an internal discussion on what you guys are ruling as far as board's ruling or the zoning officer's ruling. Because we could speak to the rest of the details for a while, but I don't want to take up anybody's time if that's not going to be the case. Okay?
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, go ahead, John.
Could we get the planner's focus on why he thought that this was a legitimate application and why we should approve it?
The original application that was submitted refers to a proposed fuel distribution center. So 17596N refers to storage facilities, including self-storage and warehouse/wholesale distribution facilities. So going back to the beginning of N are the words storage facility. Storage facility is defined in 175 as a structure or part of a structure for storing goods, wares, and merchandise, whether for the owner or for others. Storage facility includes self-storage warehouse and wholesale distribution centers. So the determination was made by the zoning officer that the proposed use was a distribution center from a storage facility. I am not in disagreement that the C2 zone, all one lot of it, does include volatile storage, but when you look up what that includes, it refers to what you would generally consider a gas station. Underground storage tanks, garages, islands, and it spends a lot of time in the definition talking about signage. None of those three elements, other than fuel, are proposed by this. So the use that I landed on and the code officer landed on was storage facilities and wholesale distribution facilities, which is consistent with the development in the zone, although LP gas, formerly Wolfeboro Oil, was approved under a different zone. But it's still primarily a zone that is welcoming to the public for wholesale distribution of goods, whether it be lumber yards, laundries and cleaning establishments, things of that nature. They are all in the zone. If you look at other sites in the zone, there are 20 and 30,000 gallon propane tanks, not only at LP gas, but on others. So I completely agree with the history of LP gas and Wolfeboro Oil that Mr. Hodder went through, and I agree that C2 zone does say gas stations under storage of volatile fuels. But the determination was made that that was not what was being proposed here. I haven't gone through the legal homework to figure out what happens when the planning board decides to appeal the determination of the zoning officer, which is functionally what is happening here. I think procedurally what would happen is the board would need to say it's not a complete application, making a finding that that would be determinative and used for a variance. But what I'm also hearing tonight is interesting. I've heard a number of members say that this is perhaps the best spot to have this thing as opposed to downtown. I'm a little personally taken aback with the suggestion that there's no concern about public safety because there's no special use permit. That's not at all true. All of the state and federal permits that make such things safe are in play here.
Okay, we're just really basically saying that a variance would be needed in order for it to go ahead. That's basically what it looks like we're saying.
So my recommendation to the board is then to not accept it as complete,
Yeah, okay.
so that the applicant can elect to move forward with a variance application should they so choose.
Okay.
That would be contrary to what you just described to us, though.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to provide some semblance of legal means for the planning board to make an appeal of the enforcement officer.
Okay, so we have that on our table. We have some members who don't agree with the determination of the planner, and we have others that haven't made any determination on their support for the planner or for this application. So I think we can discuss and vote on that if we have to.
Madam Chairman, I'd be happy to make a motion to not accept this application as complete.
Okay, due to,
Not accept the application as complete.
Because it doesn't include what? It has to, the applicant has to be advised of what makes it incomplete.
Are you certain of that? Do I need to give a reason for it not being complete?
I would think, because they went through a checklist and submitted everything, so we need to determine what is missing.
Okay. Then sorry, Fawn?
My thought is what is missing is probably a legal determination of whether, from town council, whether or not volatile fuels are included in wholesale facilities, storage and wholesale facilities.
I think if I may at this point suggest that any legal opinion would be coming from the applicant, that this board can reject the application as incomplete because it feels that it does not qualify as a permitted use under the zone in which it is intended to operate, and that if the applicant disagrees with the planning board, the applicant can then seek legal counsel and go further. It's not up to the planning board to gather legal advice or opinion to support its opinion at this stage. So my motion is to not accept this application as complete because the board believes that a variance is required first, as the use is not permitted in this district.
Okay, anybody want to second that?
Seconded.
Okay. All right, this is, will be a roll call vote. Von Dugan,
Yes.
Susan Replier,
Yes.
Michael Hodder,
Yes.
John Thurston,
No.
Brad Harriman,
No.
Julie Jacobs,
No.
okay, and Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor. Okay, so it seems that the next thing for the applicant to do is to figure out if you want to come back with an application that more specifically disguise, sorry folks, that will describe what you want to do, or try for another variance application. So that would be either or.
Okay, so this isn't an appeal of administrative decision. The
What?
zoning officer made a decision, am I correct with that?
No,
Oh,
we're
okay.
not, no, we're not doing that.
Okay,
We've just decided that we're not going to hear this.
okay. Based on the application wasn't complete.
Right,
Okay.
okay?
And the item that we were missing was a variance.
That's the board's vote.
Yeah.
You can file an appeal of an administrative decision with
We-
the ZBA against the planning board's decision.
Well, I understand,
Yeah.
but we wouldn't want to because he said it was okay.
No, the board, what would be happening is you'd be appealing the board's motion to deem it incomplete.
To the ZBA?
Yes.
Okay.
A planning board action is the functional equivalent of an administrative decision.
Okay, I'm a little confused by that, but I will relay, obviously, the client is here.
Okay, well, what are you confused with, Randy? What are you confused with?
Some kind of notice of what the vote was or something, so that we can, some kind of notice of the vote and the reason or something so that we can pass it on formally.
Okay, well,
What I heard was a motion to not accept the application as complete because the board believes a variance is required as it feels the proposed project doesn't qualify under the zoning of the district.
Does not qualify as a permitted use
Correct, okay.
in that district.
right. Okay, so does that clarify it?
Yeah, we'll get something from you guys, right?
Yes.
Get something from Tavis. Thank you.
Yes, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, Hilltop Trust and Old Nielsen, 43 and 53 Sewell Road, tax map and lot 217-144 and 217-164, case 2021-06. This is a boundary line adjustment.
Madam Chairman, I don't know if any, oh, there we go.
If you want the phone to ring, just go with that. My name is Barry Shea. I am the contractor for Paul Montron on Sewell Road, Hilltop Trust boundary line adjustment application with Ole Nielsen. We're looking to annex about 0.07 acres. We call it the sliver from Mr. Nielsen to Hilltop Trust so we can do some landscaping. Questions if you have any.
Okay. Anything else that you wanted to add, Tavis?
Fairly straightforward. It is just that. It's transferring a sliver through the process of a boundary line adjustment, and I have some recommended conditions of approval, and I believe the application is complete for the board's consideration.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, I move the application to be complete.
Seconded.
All right. Okay, roll call vote for accepting this application is complete. Von Dugan,
Yes?
Susan Replier,
Yes.
Mike Cotter,
Yes.
John Thurston,
Yes.
Brad Harriman,
Yes.
and Julie Jacobs,
Yes.
and Kathy Barnard. I vote in favor. Okay, any member of the public here that wants to speak in favor of this? Okay, let's see, Tavis, do you have some conditions for us to consider?
Yes, thank you. First one, just referring to the plans that are part of the application. Applicant is going to be responsible for certificate of monumentation and submitting a Mylar and paying the recording fees, and the ultimate action will be the binding packet of the approval.
Okay, very good.
Madam Chairman, I've moved to approve the application
Okay.
with conditions as enumerated by the planner 1 through 4.
Okay, thank you, and I'll close the public hearing.
Sorry.
Von Dugan?
Who seconded?
Yes?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to get a second. John, do you want a
Second.
All right, very good. Okay, Von Dugan, yes. Suzanne?
Yes.
Okay, and Mike Cotter?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Okay, Brad Harriman?
Yes.
And Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
And Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor. So you're all set.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's see. Glennis Berghoff, 470 Sewell Road, tax map and lot 228-60 and 61, case 2021-07, boundary line adjustment. 2 lots for formal submission. Okay?
Hi,
I will have to recuse myself. This is a client of mine, or has been.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Kevin Ash. I'm a licensed land surveyor at White Mountain Survey and Engineering, representing Glennis Bergdorf. It's basically a simple boundary line adjustment she'd like to get done here involving parcels 22860 and 61. It's at on Sewell Road. I don't have a street address right in front of me. But, the intent is basically to reconfigure the common boundary line between the 2 lots so that the beach area will be totally on the northerly lot and the northwesterly lot. And we're filing this under Article 7, Section 17555C, reconfiguration of existing non-conforming lots. Because both parcels as they exist are non-conforming, being less than the minimum lot size. And the 22860 doesn't have the 100 feet of road frontage as it is now. It only has 150 feet, I mean, it only has 98 feet of frontage now, and it only has 147 of shoreline frontage. So with the proposed change, that lot would have over 150 feet, it would have 208 feet of lake frontage, and there will be no change to the road frontage or the land area. Basically, it will be an equal area swap. And we submitted a form factor table showing that both lots will meet the requirement. And want you to know that both lots are served by town sewer and town water. And because of that, we're asking for waivers on the regulations 174.7, D4 for topography, and D6 for soil mapping. And it's because they're on the sewer and water system, we don't need any state approval for this. And I guess that's basically it. It's fairly straightforward, equal area swap. We'll do a little more, but we'll be not a lot in case he decides to do anything in the future. But the main goal is to have the beach totally in that lot.
Point of order, Madam Chairman. The applicant is applying in his narrative under 175-55C, and if I'm reading this correctly, the planner's comments have it as an application under 174-5E, which is correct?
Well, they're both correct. They're both achieving the same thing. The one on non-conforming lots says that you are also able to do boundary line adjustments on existing non-conforming lots. The planner review was based on the public hearing notice that was put in the paper, but it duly covers what is in the narrative.
So we're working under 175-55C as presented by the applicant?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, as far as the waivers concerned, anyone have any issues with it? I'll make a motion to grant the waivers.
I second the motion to grant waivers from 174-7D, 4, and 6.
Okay, and go for a roll call vote. Von Dugan, I'm sorry, Von. Susan Replier?
Yes.
Mike Hodder?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
And Kathy Barnard. I vote in favor of the waiver. And no other questions?
Move the application as complete, Madam Chairman.
Yeah, okay. So you've made that motion?
Seconded.
Okay, second. All right, Susan Replier?
Yes.
Mike Hodder?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
And Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor. So that now opens up the hearing, which we're in the middle of, and I don't see anybody. Oh, okay, got some questions or some concerns.
Same four recommended conditions from the last application are enumerated in the review referencing the plans.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Move to approve with conditions as
Okay,
enumerated.
I'm closing the public hearing, and you've made a motion to approve. I'll second it. And all in favor, Susan Replier?
Yes.
Mike Potter?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
Okay, and Kathy Barnard, I'm in favor of it. So you're all set.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. All right. 16, Christopher Court. This is a Wolfeboro Property Holdings / Kathleen Doyle, 16 Christopher Court, tax map and lot 143-15, case 2021-08, conditional use permit for an ADU. Tavis, do you want to go through the, oh, okay, all right. Okay, why don't you come on over here.
Madam Chairperson and Planning Board, my name is Kathleen Doyle. I am going to be the homeowner here, and the ADU has been requested so that my mother can live with us in the home and age in place. I think Tavis might know how to do this better than I do. I do have the builder, John Rourke. He's on the Zoom meeting. But the plan is to have the ADU comply with all the criteria that are set in place, and I'm just hoping that the board will consider that so that we can live as one family there.
Okay, all right, and did you go through all of the criteria for the questions? You reviewed the planning and zoning ordinance for the accessory dwelling units, and you said yes.
Yes.
You submitted the floor plan of an ADU.
Yes, the floor plan shows
Okay.
where the ADU will be located behind the garage.
Okay, and submitted architectural renderings or elevations of structures that will appear when the ADU is constructed.
Yes.
Okay. Submitted the external photos. Submitted a copy of the application along with 10 copies of, okay, so we did that. Okay, so we have a list of the abutters.
Yes, that's
okay.
included.
Let's see, and we've submitted a envelope and a certified letter to be sent to them.
Correct, the letters went out.
Okay, and kept the certified mail slips with the envelopes.
Yes, that's
Okay.
how I received mine as well.
All right. Okay, let's see, has the property owner or agent ever obtained an accessory dwelling unit from the planning board?
No, this is my first.
All right, will the accessory dwelling be located within the single-family dwelling or attached to the single-family dwelling?
Yes.
Will the ADU be constructed in a manner to ensure that the property maintains the appearance of a single-family dwelling and will not look like a duplex or multifamily structure?
Yes, and you can see that from the architectural plans, that only has one front door.
Okay, great. Will the entry door to the ADU be located on the side or to the rear of the structure in which this ADU is located?
Yes, it can be accessed through the garage or through a door on the back porch.
Okay, great. Let's see, will the ADU have an area not exceeding 30% of the total habitable area or of the single-family dwelling, or 750 square feet, whichever is larger?
Yes, the ADU is 602 square feet, which is only 24.8% of the overall living space.
Okay. Will at least one dedicated off-street parking space be provided for the ADU?
Yes, we plan to have a 3-car garage, and my mom will have one of those spaces.
Okay, great. Will the property owner reside within the single-family dwelling or the proposed ADU?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Although I haven't lived with my mom since high school, so it should be interesting.
All right. Oh, okay, if the municipal sewer is not available, will the sewer system meet the New Hampshire Water Supply and Pollution Control Division requirements for the combined demand for the total occupancy of the premises?
Yes, my understanding is the septic has been approved.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Move the application as complete.
Okay,
Seconded.
okay, all right. Roll call vote on this. Von Dugan?
Yes?
Oh, okay, Susan Replier?
Yes.
Mike Potter?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
Julie Jacobs?
Yes?
And Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor of, and I did forward to all of you the comments that we received from Paul O'Brien. And I believe that some of those comments you were going to follow up on. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, very good.
Will I receive a copy of those comments? Is that from an abutter?
Yes.
Comments? Because are they here, or will I be able to see them?
I can get you a copy of those, yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, very good. Then we're all set.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. CIP appointments. Let's see, we have.
Chairwoman, do we want to approve this application with a formal vote and acknowledge the conditions
Oh, I'm sorry.
suggested by the planner?
Sorry, yes. Yes.
I mean, I think it's a good application
Yeah,
too, but
yeah,
I think we
yes.
have to follow the formalities.
Yes, that's right. Yes, we do have to. Okay, so you're in favor of this, Mike? You
Yeah, I'm
made
sorry.
a motion?
I've moved to approve the
Okay.
application for the ADU at tax map 143-015 with the 4 conditions as enumerated and described in the planner's review.
Okay, and I'll second the motion. So all in favor, Von Dugan?
Yes?
Okay, Susan Replier,
Yes.
Mike Hodder,
Yes.
John Thurston,
Yes.
Brad Harriman,
Yes.
Julie Jacobs,
Yes?
and Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor. Okay. All right, now on to the CIP appointments.
We have one more.
The,
We have one more, Madam Chairman.
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we do. Okay. All right, 45 Center Street, voluntary
Merger.
Voluntary lot merger, yep.
okay, does anybody have any concerns about this?
Move to approve?
Okay.
I was a little unsure on the map here. Is this Wolfgang's Pizza?
Yeah.
So,
And that.
No, that's a very good question. It's Wolfgang's Pizza in the lot behind it. This is incorrect picture.
that's okay, good.
But the numbers are correct.
But the numbers are correct.
Yes. Okay, it wasn't me.
Okay, all right, roll call vote, Von Dugan,
Yes?
Susan Replier,
Yes.
Mike Hodder,
Yes.
John Thurston,
Yes.
okay, Brad Harriman,
Yes.
and Julie Jacobs,
Yes.
and Kathy Barnard, I vote in favor of it. Okay, all right, now the CIP appointments. Chuck Sumner, Bob Lohman, who is from the Budget Committee, Suzanne Ryan, and Paul O'Brien have all indicated an interest in participating again along with Mike Potter and myself, Kathy Barnard. Does
You mean Paul Whalen, not Paul O'Brien? Paul Whalen.
Paul Whalen, I'm sorry.
So I would move to move to appoint Chuck Sumner, Paul Whalen, and Suzanne Ryan as members at large, Robert Lohman as Budget Committee representative, Mike Hodder and Kathy Barnard as Planning Board representatives to the CIP Committee. If I may ask, Brad, has the Board of Selectmen chosen their member?
I believe that's on our agendas for tomorrow night.
Okay, then
We're doing our appointments.
All right, so we can do that one next time.
Okay, great.
As members to the CIP Committee.
All right, very good. Okay, so you've made the motion, and I'll second it. Roll call vote, Von Dugan,
Yes?
Suzanne Replier,
Yes.
Mike Potter,
Yes.
John Thurston,
Yes.
Brad Harriman,
Yes.
Julie Jacobs,
Yes.
and Kathy Barnard. I vote in favor. So that takes care of that. Okay, committee reports. Stormwater. How did you guys make out without me?
I think we have some draft wording. I wasn't aware that we were going to have committee updates, and I thought we were going to move that to the next meeting.
Okay, fine, that's great.
Do you want to move that one to the next meeting?
Yep, and let's see, the drive-through restaurant,
I can report quickly on that.
okay?
The town's attorney did give an opinion regarding the insert that this committee or the group wanted to put into the electric department monthly bill mailing. The town's attorney recommended against as a violation of the mailer insert policy the town has had since 2018, which we were unaware of, meaning that our group had to go back to the beginning and craft a new plan of attack, which is as follows. Sometime between the middle and the end of June, a publicity release and a quarter-page ad in the newspaper about the upcoming forum will be made. At the same time, we'll post that kind of information on social media. The informational forum will be held the evening of Thursday, July 8. And then during the months of September to November, the board will, based upon public input, decide whether or not some kind of regulation needs to be written and write it in time to be put onto the warrant for next year. But it's going to be based entirely upon what we hear from the public and what the board feels is an appropriate response. And that's all I have to offer.
Okay, and there was some questions about whether we should have some sort of a forum or questionnaire or something of that nature.
Yes, it's been suggested, and I think that's what the group will recommend to the board at the appropriate time, that when the public forum is held, that the members of the public showing up will be asked their opinion.
Okay.
And then that input, together with the input that will come out of the SurveyMonkey online, which the public will know exists and will be able to participate in, will be put together into the pot along with the public comments heard, presented to the board to be used in making a decision where we should go further.
Okay, Susan, did you want to add anything?
No, that covers it.
Okay, all right. Okay, so is that all okay with everyone? All right. Okay, Filter Bed Road, we've already talked about that. What about lighting?
Let me give you an update on the Filter Bed Road. Our first meeting is Thursday night, the April 8th at 5 o'clock here in the Great Hall.
Good.
That's a
Okay,
lighting subcommittee. Our lighting subcommittee is currently looking at some draft wording, and after our next meeting, we'll be presenting that to the planning board with any further discussion.
okay. All right, very good.
I'll make this.
John, when is that next meeting? Because I couldn't make that last one,
Next meeting.
if you recall.
I'll give you that in a second.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, okay, in the short-term rental committee, apparently we're meeting on Monday at 10 o'clock. And I guess to basically go over some of the suggestions that were heard by the committee, by the people that came to the committee members, and then just to decide whether we want to get together with other organizations that have maybe already put those regulations into effect in their neighborhood association.
So, yeah, so our next meeting, our past meeting, we focused on the chief of police and fire and got their input on local calls and activities to neighborhoods to find out if there was any data relative to Airbnbs and nefarious activity. And this next meeting is based on community input through whatever associations or whatever homes you would have in your neighborhood, and that's our next discussion for our next meeting, Monday the 12th at 10 a.m.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? Okay. Just one thing on the drive-through. I noticed on Facebook this morning that somebody was fussing about the fact that we were meeting in
secret
without any
public notice?
sorry, folks. Okay. All right. So we're meeting to go through the process for the drive-through. Okay. All right.
The question was, I believe, that someone thought that the meetings that we are being held should have been noticed, and minutes kept, and public allowed to participate. And it was, I believe, the group's opinion that we had not been commissioned as a subcommittee of the planning board, and consequently we're not bound by 91A. We're just getting together to talk it over and then bring the information back to the board, and we do not constitute a quorum anyway.
Which we have done in every single case.
Yeah.
And all we did was try and get the information together for the drive-through restaurants and tried to bring it to the board the best that we could. And so that's where that is. So if people are concerned about the way we're doing business, then maybe they want to come and speak to us at the planning board meeting. So anyway, but the next item is public comment. So is there anyone out there that wants to speak to the planning board on anything to do with public comments? Okay, the next item is the review of the draft minutes.
I have some corrections, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
On page 1, members present in person. After the words roll call, delete Peter Goodwin through to in the second sentence, present with him. Because he wasn't present in person, and he's referred to in the members present virtually in the next paragraph. On page 3, about the center, about this middle of the page, Mike Hutter proposed that the chairs of the Planning Board and Heritage Commission meet by April 20, not on April 20. We will have a public hearing, a public meeting on April 20. The chairs should meet prior to that to get the ducks in a row over the charrette. Towards the bottom of this page 3, drive-through committee update. Second line, after the first word electric, insert department.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Insert what, Mike? I'm sorry.
Insert the word department after the word electric. Page 4 on page, my pages were all out of order by the by. Page 6, Filter Bed Road Committee report, the section that reads, Mike Hutter replied, change the word he to himself. And that's all I have.
Okay, anybody else have anything? All right, I'd entertain a motion to accept these as corrected.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, roll call vote, Von Dugan,
Yes.
Susan Replier,
Yes.
Mike Hodder,
Yes.
John Thurston,
Yes.
Brad Harriman,
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here that night.
okay, and Peter Good, Julie.
Yes.
Julie, thank you.
Jacobs.
And Kathy Barnhart, I'm going to extend myself,
Okay.
not here. So, okay, the motion passes. All right, Conservation Commission, did you have anything on that?
Well, Conservation Subdivision, I promised the board I'd be putting together some materials for review at the 420 meeting or after, depending on how the schedule goes, and I plan to have that out to the board early next week. So you'll have plenty of time before the meeting and we can discuss it and decide when to best put it on the agenda moving forward.
Good.
Okay, all right, very good.
So the lighting committee meeting is on the 19th at 4:30.
Okay,
Madam Chairman, if I may,
yeah,
there was quite a bit of discussion this evening about the Stoneham Road project, and I'm not taking onus on that one, just for the record. I am happy to share with the board members the email that the planning side received for noticing the meeting and getting the information out for the public hearing, et cetera. So I apologize that the wrong information was presented to the board, but that will get addressed prior to the next meeting.
okay. All right, anything else?
What I saw on there was two sets of plans, because in those small sheets, the cutoff sheets showing the stormwater, silt sock and so forth, those said 2 of 14, and the other sets said 2 of 9. So there was definitely two sets of plans there that were half there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I have to make a comment too. I appreciate Mr. Ford's concern. I know he has business needs that have to be met. I'm just between a rock and a hard place. I'd like to accommodate, but on the other hand, I didn't feel like I could make a proper decision as a planning board member without a complete set of documentation. And I apologize to Mr. Ford for getting in his way, but on the other hand, I didn't see any other way I could do it.
Well,
Yeah,
if
okay,
I may
well,
also say,
we're all in the same position, so.
I don't think the public was offered all of the information either, because Suzanne didn't seem to have all of it together. And she would usually have all the information.
He what?
I don't think that the public got all of the information either, what I'm saying. So I think it is right for it to be continued a little bit longer.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, right.
I just didn't want there to be any hard feelings, that's all.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, I mean, we all have differences of opinion on all sorts of different things, and we certainly should feel very, you know, able to deal with it, move on to the next one, and keep moving on, and not get hung up on whose feelings are being hurt. So,
Move to adjourn?
We're just trying to
Seconded.
make people more comfortable.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Okay, Von Dugan? Susan Replier?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Susan Replier.
Yes.
Mike Potter?
Yes.
John Thurston?
Yes.
Brad Harriman?
Yes.
Julie Jacobs?
Yes.
And Kathy Barnard, vote in favor. Okay.
Thank you. It's your copy.
All right, great. Good.
Well, one second. That's just information.